Being creative is a little bit like Inside Out. It's not just about looking at our professional lives and what we're able to do creatively at work, but where it comes from in our personal lives. By doing it at home, by doing it in our private life, we start to get very comfortable with creating things. You might remember before I talked about Dom. One of the things I said about Dom is that he likes to renovate bathrooms. Now, although he doesn't do every single component of the renovation himself, gets people to come in and help him, he likes to oversee it. He likes to be a part of it. This is something he does on weekends. Often when we're looking at creativity and creative endeavors, they can look like mammoth tasks. So the more comfortable we are at creating things in our personal life, the more comfortable we become in creating them in our professional life. I consider myself to be a creative suit. Okay, sure, I wear a suit, but I have a pen at work and I create proposals and ideas for my clients, so I'm creative. On weekends though, I like to sculpt, and it's really, really simple. I take some plaster, I add water, and I set it in a mold. After it hardens, about 30 minutes later, I then begin to chisel. I take a spoon from the kitchen and I use this implement as my chisel. You'll never see my works on display at art galleries. You'll never see any red dots beside them. In fact, you probably won't see it anywhere else but my mantelpiece at home. I'm not aiming to be Michelangelo. After all, he devoted his entire life to his craft. But my point is that I'm just dabbling. I'm getting comfortable with creating stuff, and it can be anything. Most evenings, I like to cook for my girlfriend. I add a few tomatoes. I finely dice some fish. I add some pepper. And there you go, I have one of her favorite dishes. It takes approximately 1 hour. You'll never find this dish in a cookbook. You won't see any nice photos of it, and you will never see the recipe in there that I used. But you will find it on her Facebook. And maybe you might hear about it when I talk about it the next day. If you can see from this diagram what's happening, this is my morning ritual, and it takes approximately 3 minutes. I spend a moment contemplating if my tie is working with my cufflinks. Does the shirt work with the overall color of my suit? Are there stripes? If there are, how are they? Are they clashing? I take a few moments, and very quickly I'm being creative and exercising my creative powers and judgment. Building a sandcastle, we have Sentosa Beach. There's nothing to stop you from taking buckets of sand and just creating a castle. It can be really, really rewarding. You can get a great emotional kick out of creating a sandcastle at Sentosa Beach. I remember one holiday I went with my partner. We visited the Snowy Mountains for the first time. And while we were there, we were supposed to do what most people do when they go to the Snowy Mountains, and that is ski. After a few hours though, we realized we weren't very good at skiing. In fact, we really didn't like falling over and making a fool of ourselves. So for the next 3 days of our holiday, we decided instead to start heaping up snow and creating snowmen. It started with snowmen, and then we started creating other kinds of objects. And pretty soon, we had people kind of whizzing past us on the slopes, stopping next to it, standing next to the object, and then getting their photos taken of them standing beside our sculptures. Now, again, it's just a very simple thing. We're just getting comfortable with creating things and enjoying that process and getting a really big emotional kick. And the thing that I'd really like to put out in this topic is that it's really simple. We don't have to create a Ben-Hur or an Eiffel Tower to get that creative feel going. It doesn't have to be something whereby it took 100 years like the pyramids. Just keep it small, keep it simple, and keep it fun. And that way, in a really small amount of time, you get a real kick out of doing something creative.